Yeah, I don't like the word influence. It gives the wrong impression. In any case, it's very hard to know what's influenced you. People can only see that much later on when they look at your work. But there are many writers that I like and enjoy reading and go back to again and again. Of course, Homer keeps coming up. I love the Greeks, Oedipus Rex, Don Quixote. I like foundational figures, writers who ask big questions of their society and of the art and of human beings. I like writers very much who look at one thing all the way to its deepest points and to its highest points. I like writers who dance with the questions that they ask. I keep talking about asking questions because all creativity starts with a question. And the quality of the question that we ask as writers and as citizens determines the quality of the discoveries that we make about ourselves and about our societies. In my latest book, The Freedom Artist, everything centers around people who I call question askers. They're the most dangerous people in society. They're the most liberating people in society. The fight for justice is for everybody. The fight for justice is for society as a whole. But the keenest fight for justice is for the most dispossessed, the poorest people in our society. But justice is not just about poverty. Justice is about truth. Justice is about the way in which a society is run. Justice is about what a society takes to be its fundamental truths, its unalterable truths about the human condition. So justice is about fairness. It's about in some way trying to heal the deep pain that exists in society. When people point to a society to me and say, this society, this nation is doing well, my eye goes not to its great achievements, its temples, its moon journeys. My eye goes to the streets. My eye goes to the women, the children. My eye goes to the poor. My eye goes to the hungry. For me, if they are there, then we need to refigure what we mean when we say the achievement of a society. For me, the achievement of a society is there with the hungry, the women, the children, how you treat the disabled, how you treat the poor. That's where the real definition of achievement for me begins. Also, education. You can't really have true justice till you have the broadest possible education for all of its citizens. Because when people have basic education, they have the power to ask questions. They have the power to disagree. They have the power to look beneath the surface of how things appear to be. Well, my most recent book is a novel called The Freedom Artist, which I think is one of the most significant things I've ever written. And it has a very, very difficult, very tough premise. I'll give you the opening sentence and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. It begins like this. It is written in the oldest legend of the land that all are born in prison. And the novel is an investigation of the idea of freedom. in all of its levels: political freedom, intellectual, spiritual, moral. This is a novel I've been carrying for more than 30 years, and I've been meditating on freedom in different ways in all my books, but in this book all the different tributaries come together in this river. I'm not going to generalize, but I know that the impulse to share one's creative thoughts, one's drafts, one's stories, one's poems is very strong, because especially when you're at the beginning of your career as a writer, you actually don't know sometimes what you've written. You don't know if it's any good, and often you need another pair of eyes to look at it, to externalize it in some way. So I think that impulse will never go away. People will share things online in sort of very free clubs, as it were, literary clubs online, as they would do in the flesh. I personally think that the sharing of ideas and of texts physically with people is much more fruitful, because sometimes someone's response to a piece of writing that you've given them is not just in the words that they say, it's sometimes in the expression on their faces. Sometimes people express more clearly to you when they're actually in front of you. It's not often that people can express their feeling about a piece of writing with another piece of writing. By that I mean that being a critic is itself a craft that you need to learn. So I think that regardless of the rush of internet communication, the physical will always have an abiding place. At least I hope that it will. Because Rise Like Lions is an anthology of political poetry, which I've compiled from the ancient times to the most recent, and I've removed the hierarchy of poetry. So I've got songs, I've got lyrics, I've got great poems from the 18th century, and so on and so forth. I'm going to quote you a more recent line that might be relevant. Free yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. That's from Bob Marley.